Imagine if the parts of yourself you hide, the fears you bury, the doubts you shove away, the flaws you're ashamed of aren't holding you back, but are actually screaming to show you your true purpose. Sounds crazy, right? But Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, believed your shadow side, the parts you reject, holds the key to unlocking why you're here. In this explosive journey, we're diving deep into Carl Jung's philosophy to reveal how your darkest corners can light the way to a life of meaning, freedom, and authenticity. Stick with us to discover practical steps to face your shadow, real-life stories that'll hit home, and a game-changing truth that could redefine your entire path. Get ready, this isn't just a video. It's a wake-up call to become who you were always meant to be. Let's dive in. You've probably felt it before, that nagging voice in your head whispering doubts, the flare of anger you quickly shove down, or the pang of envy you pretend isn't there. These aren't just random emotions, they're glimpses of your shadow, a concept Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychologist, introduced to explain the hidden parts of who you are. But here's the twist. Your shadow isn't just a dark corner of your mind to avoid. It's a treasure chest, packed with clues about your true purpose, your untapped potential, and the life you're meant to live. In this chapter, we're peeling back the layers of Carl Jung's philosophy to uncover what the shadow really is, why it's so powerful, and how it can guide you toward a life that feels authentically yours. Buckle up, this is where the journey gets real. So, what exactly is the shadow? Carl Jung described it as the unconscious part of your psyche that holds everything you've rejected about yourself. These are the traits, feelings, or desires you've buried because they feel wrong or unacceptable. Maybe it's the anger you were taught was rude, the ambition you hid to avoid seeming selfish, or the vulnerability you locked away to stay strong. Think of the shadow like the backstage of a theater productions, where the messy, unpolished parts of you live, out of sight from the audience of the world. But here's the kicker. Those backstage parts aren't flaws. They're raw, untamed pieces of your soul, and they hold energy that could light up your life if you dare to face them. Why does the shadow form? It starts early, when we're kids. Society, family, and culture hand us a script. Be polite. Don't be too loud. Success looks like this. To fit in, we push away the parts of ourselves that don't match that script. Carl Jung called this the personality mask you wear to navigate the world. The problem is, every time you hide a part of yourself to please others, it doesn't vanish. It slips into your shadow, growing stronger in the dark. Over time, your shadow becomes a storehouse of suppressed energy, and it doesn't stay quiet. It leaks out in ways you might not even notice, through a snappy comment you regret, a dream that unsettles you, or a judgment you cast on someone else that feels oddly personal. Let's make this concrete with a story. Meet Emma, a 30-year-old graphic designer who's always been the nice one in her friend group. Everyone loves her for her kindness. But deep down, Emma feels stuck. At work, she watches her colleague Mia pitch bold ideas with unshakable confidence, and it drives her nuts. "Why does Mia have to be so showy?" Emma mutters, rolling her eyes. But one day during a team meeting, Emma catches herself. Why does Mia's confidence bug her so much? That's when it hits her. She's jealous. Not because she wants Mia's job, but because she's buried her own confidence to avoid seeming too much. Emma's irritation with Mia is a mirror, reflecting a part of her shadow, a part that's starving to step into the spotlight, but has been locked away for years. This is what Carl Jung meant when he said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Your shadow shows up most clearly in projection, when you see your own hidden traits in someone else and react strongly. Ever snapped at someone for being arrogant, only to realize later you're afraid of owning your own strength? That's your shadow waving at you, begging to be noticed. And here's why it matters. Your shadow isn't just a problem to fix. It's a guide. Carl Jung believed that the shadow holds the seeds of your greatest strengths. That suppressed anger, it might be the fuel for standing up for what you believe in. That buried ambition, it could be the drive to create something extraordinary. The shadow is like a map, pointing you toward the purpose you've been searching for. But there's more. Carl Jung's philosophy, called Individuation, is all about becoming whole by integrating your shadow into your conscious self. This isn't about erasing your flaws or becoming perfect. It's about owning every part of you, the light and the dark, to live authentically. When you ignore your shadow, you're living half a life, chasing goals that might not even be yours. When you embrace it, you tap into a well of energy and clarity that can transform how you show up in the world. Individuation is the journey to discover who you really are, not just the polished persona you've been trained to present. Let's go back to Emma. After realizing her irritation with Mia was about her own shadow, she started paying attention. She noticed how she always played it safe at work, avoiding risks to stay likable. One night, she had a vivid dream about standing on a stage, speaking to a crowd, but feeling terrified. That dream was her shadow talking, urging her to claim her voice. Emma decided to take a small step. She pitched a new design idea at work, something bold she'd never dared before. To her surprise, her team loved it. For the first time, Emma felt a spark of purpose, not just as a designer, but as someone who could inspire others by being herself. Why is the shadow so important? Because it's not just about you. Carl Jung believed that when you integrate your shadow, you don't just find your purpose, you contribute to the world in a way only you can. Your shadow holds the unique gifts you've been hiding, the ones the world needs. That fear of failure you've buried, it might teach others resilience. That anger you've suppressed, it could spark change in your community. By facing your shadow, you unlock a ripple effect, inspiring those around you to do the same. You've just uncovered the shadow, that hidden part of you packed with fears, doubts, and desires you've pushed away. But here's the question burning in your mind. If your shadow holds the key to your purpose, why does it feel like it's holding you back? Carl Jung's answer might surprise you. Your shadow isn't trying to sabotage you, it's trying to get your attention. It's like a friend banging on your door, desperate to tell you something life-changing, but you keep ignoring the knock. In this chapter, we're diving into how your shadow hides your true purpose, the sneaky ways it shows up in your life, and why ignoring it keeps you stuck in a life that feels off. Get ready to see your shadow in a whole new light. So, how does your shadow hide your purpose? It starts with a simple truth. What you reject about yourself controls you. Carl Jung taught that the more you suppress your shadow, the more power it has to shape your choices, your relationships, and your path. When you bury parts of yourself like your ambition, your anger, or your dreams because they feel wrong, they don't disappear. They fester in your unconscious, pulling strings behind the scenes. This creates a gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. Your purpose, the unique reason your hero gets, buried under layers of fear, shame, and denial, leaving you chasing goals that might look good on paper, but feel empty inside. Let's break it down. Your shadow shows up in 3 big ways, each one a clue to the purpose you've been overlooking. First, it appears through projection. Remember Emma from chapter 1. Her irritation with her confident colleague Mia was a projection, a sign that her shadow was hiding her own desire to shine. When you judge someone else harshly, say, calling them selfish or lazy, it's often because they're mirroring a part of you you've disowned. That judgment isn't just about them. It's a flashing neon sign pointing to your shadow. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Your projections are like breadcrumbs, leading you back to the parts of yourself you need to reclaim to find your purpose." Second, your shadow speaks through emotional triggers. Ever had a moment where you overreacted and later wondered, "Why did I get so upset?" That's your shadow waving a red flag. Take Mark, a 35-year-old accountant who always felt unfulfilled at his desk job. One day, his boss praised a co-worker's creative presentation, and Mark snapped, "It's just flashy nonsense." He regretted it instantly. But the outburst wasn't random. Mark's shadow was screaming because he'd buried his own creativity years ago. As a kid, he loved painting, but his parents called it a waste of time. So he chose a practical career. Now, every time he saw creativity in others, it triggered a mix of envy and pain, a reminder of the purpose he'd abandoned. Your triggers aren't just annoyances. They're your shadow begging you to look at what you've hidden. Third, Your shadow whispers through dreams and intuition. Carl Jung believed dreams are a direct line to your unconscious, where your shadow lives. Mark, for example, started having recurring dreams about painting in a vibrant studio, only to wake up feeling restless. Those dreams weren't random. They were his shadow nudging him toward his true calling. Or maybe you felt an inexplicable pull towards something, a hobby, a cause, a place, but dismissed it as impractical. That pull is your shadow trying to guide you. Ignoring it keeps you stuck, living a life that checks boxes but doesn't light you up. Why does this matter? Because ignoring your shadow comes at a cost. When you suppress your true desires or strengths, you end up living someone else's version of success. You might climb the corporate ladder, build a picture-perfect family, or rack up likes on social media, but deep down, something's missing. Carl Jung called this a life of alienazione, disconnection from your authentic self. You feel like you're going through the motions, chasing goals that society, your parents, or your fears handed you. The result? A nagging sense of emptiness, like you're meant for something more but can't quite name it. That something more is your purpose, and your shadow is the gatekeeper. Let's go back to Mark. After his outburst at work, he started noticing patterns. He felt bitter whenever he saw someone pursuing a creative passion, whether it was a co-worker's presentation or a friend's side hustle as a musician. One night, scrolling through social media, he stumbled on an artist's page filled with vibrant paintings. Instead of scrolling past, he paused, feeling a pang of longing. That was his shadow speaking, not through anger this time, but through a quiet ache for the life he'd left behind. Mark realized he'd been living for his parents' approval, not his own truth. His purpose to create, to express, to inspire through art had been buried under years of shoulds and musts. Here's the hard truth. Your shadow hides your purpose because it's protecting you. Carl Jung believed the shadow forms to keep you safe from rejection, failure, or judgment. When Mark gave up painting, his shadow absorbed that dream to shield him from his parents' disapproval. When Emma buried her confidence, her shadow took the hit to keep her likable. Your shadow isn't the bad guy, it's like a loyal guard dog, holding onto your deepest desires until you're ready to claim them. But here's the catch. Staying safe means staying small. You can't step into your purpose without facing the shadow that's been guarding it. So, what happens when you ignore these signs? You stay stuck. Your projections keep you judging others instead of growing. Your triggers keep you reacting instead of reflecting. Your dreams and intuitions fade, leaving you disconnected from the life you're meant to live. Carl Jung warned that an unacknowledged shadow can even turn destructive, showing up as self-sabotage, burnout, or resentment. Mark, for instance, was on the verge of quitting his job out of frustration, not because he hated it, but because he was running from his shadow's call to create. But here's the flip side. Every time your shadow shows up through a judgment, a trigger, or a dream, it's an invitation. It's your chance to reclaim the parts of yourself you've hidden and uncover the purpose waiting beneath. Carl Jung's philosophy teaches us that your shadow isn't hiding your purpose to hurt you. It's hiding it to protect you until you're ready to face the truth. In the next chapter, we'll get practical and show you how to work with your shadow to unlock that purpose. Stay with us, this is where the real transformation begins. You've seen your shadow lurking in your judgments, your emotional triggers, and those vivid dreams that won't let you sleep. You know it's hiding your life's purpose, waiting for you to claim it. But how do you actually deal with it? Carl Jung didn't just point out the shadow, he gave us tools to face it, to turn its darkness into a flashlight that illuminates your path. This chapter is your practical guide to shadow work, the process of confronting and integrating your shadow to unlock your true self. We're breaking it down with 3 actionable steps, backed by real stories, to help you stop hiding and start living with purpose. This isn't some woo-woo fluff, it's a roadmap to transformation, and it's time to take the wheel. Step 1. Spot your shadow through triggers and dreams. Your shadow doesn't come with a neon sign saying, "Here I am." It hides in the moments that catch you off guard, when your emotions flare or your dreams shake you up. The first step is awareness, learning to spot it. Carl Jung taught that your shadow reveals itself through triggers, those moments when someone or something pushes your buttons. Maybe you feel a surge of jealousy when a friend succeeds, or you snap at a family member for no clear reason. These aren't just bad days, they're your shadow knocking. Carl Jung also believed that dreams are a direct line to your unconscious, where your shadow lives. Recurring dreams, intense emotions, or even random flashes of intuition are clues to what you've buried. Let's revisit Emma from chapter 1. Her shadow showed up when she got irritated by her colleague Mia's confidence. To spot it, Emma started paying attention to her triggers. She noticed she felt the same annoyance whenever someone took the spotlight, whether it was Mia or a friend posting a big win online. One night, she had a dream about being on stage, frozen with fear. That dream wasn't random, it was her shadow begging her to reclaim her confidence. Carl Jung's tool here is simple but powerful. Keep a shadow journal. Write down your triggers, those moments you overreact or judge harshly. Ask, what does this reveal about me? Jot down your dreams, especially the ones that linger. Over time, you'll see patterns pointing to the parts of yourself you've hidden. Try it. Next time you're triggered, pause. Write it down. You're not judging yourself. You're uncovering your shadow's secrets. Step 2. Embrace your shadow with compassion. Spotting your shadow is one thing. Accepting it is another. Most of us want to run from the parts we're ashamed of, anger, envy, fear, but Carl Jung taught that fighting your shadow only makes it stronger. The key is compassion. Your shadow isn't a villain. It's a part of you that learned to hide to keep you safe. Maybe your anger formed to protect you from being hurt, or your fear kept you from rejection. Embracing your shadow means seeing it without judgment, like you'd comfort a scared kid. This isn't about acting on every impulse, it's about saying, I see you, and you're okay. Take Mark, our accountant from chapter 2, who buried his dream of painting. After spotting his shadow through triggers, envy of creative people, and dreams, painting studios, he took a bold step. He tried a technique Jung loved, dialoguing with the shadow. Mark wrote a letter to his shadow, addressing his fear of failure. Why are you so scared? He asked. What do you need? As he wrote, he realized his fear came from his parents' disapproval when he was young. Instead of hating that fear, he thanked it for protecting him, then promised to take small risks. That compassion softened his shadow's grip. Try this. Pick a shadow trait like jealousy or insecurity. Write a letter to it. Ask what it's protecting you from and what it needs. You'll be amazed how this shifts your perspective. Compassion turns your shadow from a foe into a friend. Step 3. Integrate your shadow to unlock your purpose. Spotting and embracing your shadow sets the stage, but the real magic happens when you integrate it. Integration means bringing your shadow into your conscious life, not letting it run the show, but letting it add depth to who you are. Carl Jung called this individuation the journey to become whole by owning your light and dark. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim the energy you've spent hiding it, and that energy fuels your purpose. It's like adding vibrant colors to a painting that was once flat. For Emma, integration meant stepping into her confidence. After spotting her shadow, jealousy of Mia, and embracing it with compassion, she took action. She volunteered to lead a project at work, something she'd always avoided. It was scary, but when her team praised her leadership, she felt a spark of purpose, not just as a designer, but as someone who inspires others. For Mark, integration looked like picking up a paintbrush again. He started sketching in his free time, not to quit his job, but to honor his creative side. Those sketches led to a local art show where he sold his first piece. That moment wasn't just about art, it was about living his truth. Here's how you can integrate your shadow. Start small. If your shadow holds suppressed ambition, take one step toward a goal you've avoided, like signing up for a class or sharing your work. If it's buried anger, channel it into something constructive, like advocating for a cause. Carl Jung's tool here is active imagination. Visualize your shadow as a character and ask how it can help you. Emma imagined her shadow as a bold version of herself, cheering her on. Mark saw his as a young artist, urging him to create. Try this. Close your eyes, picture your shadow, and ask, how can you guide me toward my purpose? Then take one small action based on the answer. Why does shadow work matter? Because it's the bridge to your purpose. When you stop hiding your shadow, you stop hiding your gifts. Emma's confidence wasn't a flaw, it was her strength to lead. Mark's creativity wasn't a waste, it was his calling to inspire. Carl Jung believed that integrating your shadow doesn't just change you, it changes how you show up in the world. You become more authentic, more alive, more connected to the unique reason you're here. And the best part? You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Shadow work is a journey, and every step counts. Let's wrap this up with a truth. Your shadow isn't something to fix, it's something to embrace. It's the raw, messy, beautiful part of you that's been waiting to guide you home. By spotting it, embracing it, and integrating it, you're not just finding your purpose, you're becoming it. In the next chapter, we'll explore how this journey leads to a life of meaning and even impacts the world around you. Stay with us. The transformation is about to get even bigger. You've learned to spot your shadow, embrace it with compassion, and weave it into your life. Now you're standing at the edge of something bigger, a life where your shadow isn't a burden but a guide to your true purpose. Carl Jung believed that facing your shadow isn't just about personal growth. It's about stepping into the unique reason you're here and making a ripple effect that touches the world. In this final chapter, we're pulling it all together to show how shadow work leads to a life of meaning, how it transforms your relationships and creativity, and why your journey matters far beyond yourself. Get ready. This is where your shadow becomes your superpower, and your purpose becomes your legacy. So, how does shadow work unlock your purpose? Carl Jung's philosophy, called individuation, is the key. Individuation is the process of becoming whole by integrating your shadow, your fears, desires, and hidden strengths into your conscious self. When you do this, you stop living for others' approval or society's script. You start living for you. Your purpose isn't some far-off destination or a job title. It's the way you show up in the world, fully authentic, with all your light and dark. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That's what shadow work does. It strips away the masks and reveals the real you, the one the world needs. Let's bring this to life with a story. Remember Mark, the accountant who buried his passion for painting. Through shadow work, he spotted his envy of creative people, embraced his fear of failure, and started sketching again. But here's where it gets powerful. Mark didn't just find a hobby, he found his purpose. One of his sketches caught the eye of a local gallery owner who invited him to exhibit. At the show, a young artist approached Mark saying, "Your work inspired me to keep going." That moment hit Mark hard. His purpose wasn't just about painting, it was about showing others they could chase their dreams too. By facing his shadow, Mark didn't just transform his life, he sparked change in someone else's. This is what shadow work does. It turns your wounds into wisdom. Your shadow holds the parts of you that make you unique, your struggles, your passions, your quirks. When you integrate them, you uncover gifts the world is waiting for. Maybe your buried anger fuels a mission to fight injustice. Maybe your hidden vulnerability helps others feel less alone. Carl Jung believed that your purpose is tied to your shadow because it's the raw, unfiltered part of you that connects you to humanity. By owning it, you become a beacon, lighting the way for others to do the same. But shadow work doesn't just change, it transforms your relationships. When you stop projecting your shadow onto others, you stop blaming them for your triggers. You start seeing people as they are, not as mirrors of your fears. Take Emma, our graphic designer from earlier chapters. After integrating her shadow, she stopped resenting confident people like Mia. Instead, she approached Mia with curiosity, asking for tips on presenting ideas. That openness led to a collaboration that won their team a big client. Emma's shadow work didn't just make her more confident, it built bridges, turning rivalry into partnership. Carl Jung taught that knowing your own darkness makes you more compassionate. When you accept your flaws, you accept others too, creating deeper, more authentic connections. Shadow work also unleashes your creativity. Carl Jung saw creativity as a channel for the unconscious, where your shadow lives. When you suppress your shadow, you block that channel, leaving your ideas flat or your passions dormant. But when you embrace it, you tap into a well of energy that fuels innovation. Mark's paintings weren't just art, they were expressions of his shadow's longing to create. Emma's bold project ideas weren't just work. They were her shadow's voice, finally breaking free. Whether you're an artist, a parent, or a problem solver, integrating your shadow makes you more original, more alive. Think of Frida Kahlo, whose raw, shadow-filled paintings turned pain into beauty, or Martin Luther King Jr., who channeled his anger at injustice into a movement. Your shadow is your creative spark, don't let it stay buried. Now, here's the game changer. Your shadow work isn't just about you. Carl Jung believed that when you integrate your shadow, you contribute to the collective unconscious, the shared pool of human experience. Your courage to face your darkness inspires others to face theirs. Your purpose becomes a gift to the world. Imagine if Mark had stayed stuck, never painting again. That young artist might have given up. Or if Emma had kept hiding her confidence, her team might have missed their big win. Your shadow work creates a domino effect, spreading authenticity and compassion. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." By owning your shadow, you help humanity move toward a more connected, conscious future. So, how do you keep this going? Shadow work is a lifelong journey, not a one-time fix. Start with small steps. If you spotted a shadow trait like fear of failure, take one action to challenge it, like sharing a project you're nervous about. If you embraced a buried passion, nurture it, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. And keep asking, what is my shadow teaching me today? Carl Jung's advice is to stay curious. Your shadow will keep evolving, revealing new layers of your purpose as you grow. Try this. Pick one shadow trait you've uncovered. Make a commitment to act on it this week. Maybe it's speaking up, creating something, or forgiving yourself. Small steps lead to big shifts. Let's circle back to Mark and Emma. For Mark, shadow work meant painting again, but it also meant mentoring young artists, sharing his story of fear and triumph. His purpose grew from personal expression to community impact. For Emma, it meant leading with confidence, but also uplifting her team, creating a culture of trust. Their shadow work didn't make them perfect, it made them real. They're living proof that your shadow isn't a curse. It's a compass, guiding you to a life that matters. You've just journeyed through the depths of your shadow, from uncovering its secrets to embracing it as your guide to a life of purpose. Carl Jung showed us that your shadow isn't something to fear. It's the raw, untamed part of you that holds your greatest gifts. Every fear you face, every doubt you embrace, every hidden dream you reclaim, is a step toward becoming who you're truly meant to be. This isn't just about finding your purpose, it's about living it, breathing it, and sharing it with a world that's waiting for your light. Your shadow is your superpower, and this moment is your wake-up call to unleash it. So, what's next? Don't let this journey end here. Take one small step today. Maybe it's writing down a shadow trigger, forgiving a flaw you've hidden, or chasing a dream you've buried. Your purpose is waiting, and it starts with courage. We want to hear your story. What's one shadow trait you're ready to embrace? Drop it in the comments below. Your words could spark someone else's transformation. If this video lit a fire in you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this truth, and subscribe to Jung Psyche Hub for more Jungian insights to fuel your journey. Tap the bell so you never miss a video that could change your life. This is your moment. Step into your purpose. Unleash your shadow. The world is waiting for the real you.